Good afternoon. As a member of the group SOL, Solidarity, Organization and Liberty in Pérez Celedón, I want to communicate to any English speakers in the Southern Zone that own property that yesterday myself and 9 other members of our organization went to a meeting with members of the National Registry and representatives of Telespacio, which is the Argentinian company that is working on what we've been calling the POC, or the cadastral plan of the Southern Zone, yesterday morning. From what was said in that meeting, we've taken a solid stance on the issue, and I'd like to read to you our statement. Number 1, the Argentinian company in charge of the project had the obligation to create a file for each property in Pérez Celedón, which by their own calculation comes to around 87,000 farms, properties, and lots. Each file, according to the manual of the project, which is the pamphlet, or it's around 300 pages, it's basically the law of the project that they have created, and which the organization Telespacio has to follow, and another company which we can't seem to find, apparently called Geotecnologías, but we can't find it. This is something that they mentioned in the meeting, and we've been doing our own research to try and find this supervising company, which we can't find. But both of them have to follow this manual for the work to be completed correctly. And according to that manual, each file has to be finished by a picture taken of the property. Now, this is only to show that the agent who did the field work actually showed up to the property. So, that being said, number 2, we know that without a doubt, by asking multiple different questions on the subject in the meeting yesterday, that at least less than 50%, and we can assume that it may even be less than 20%, of those files of each farm have actually been completed. They used the excuse, they didn't deny it, but they did use the excuse that when they were doing the field work, the citizens were worried about the POT, or the territorial ordering plan, and thus did not want to give information to government agents. But whether or not that is the case, we can be sure that those files have not been completed, and we don't care what excuse it is. If those files haven't been completed, they have to be completed by the manual that they're using for the field work to actually be complete. So, this being the case, we consider that the next phase of the project, which is the public exposition, should not, under any circumstance, take place until the necessary fieldwork, as stipulated by the manual that they are using, is completed. That being said, even though the National Registry tried to minimize this point, we know that if there are inconsistencies, which is what they're calling the errors, discovered during the public exposition in the planos or the titles of the property, in accordance to what was written on the old planos that we have in our hands or our lawyers' offices and in the National Registry, and to their new system, if there are inconsistencies found in your property, it will end up falling to you, the landowner, to have to pay insane amounts of money, in some cases up to thousands of dollars, to fix these errors, being that the National Registry is trying to blame topographers for these inconsistencies, instead of taking responsibility for the erroneous and incomplete work that is being done by Telespacio, the company which is doing this work. They told us that if there is an error, it should be fixed by the topographer who made that error in the first place, even if that topographer is no longer alive, is no longer in Pérez Celedón, or if it's been 10 or 15 or 20 years since this topographer made this error. However, in Costa Rica, a falta disciplinaria, which is what that misdemeanor would be called, if somebody didn't complete the work correctly, let's say a topographer said he did the work, he put it in the National Registry, and now you're finding out that it's not true. So they're saying you can go and make a claim against him and say, you have to fix this without charging me. So that kind of misdemeanor expires after 2 years in Costa Rica. So if your plan was more than 2 years old, then you're out of luck. You're going to have to either pay that topographer or any other topographer to fix the errors that he made. And of course, that's going to be a lot of money. And we've done our research. It seems to be around, it could be from $2,000 and up. So, that being said, as a group, SOL has 2 criteria that must be met for us to allow the project to continue. Number 1, not a single dollar should be spent by a property owner to fix these errors, whether or not they're created by Telespacio. It's not your problem, it's theirs. And number 2, that the field work that has been apparently audited and approved by this company that I talked about before, that we don't even know what its true name is, Geotecnologías apparently, they say that it has been audited, supervised, and approved by 100%, is the number that they gave us by that company. we were taken back, because if the fieldwork isn't done, then how is it being supervised and audited and saying that it's 100% done? They're giving the go-ahead if it hasn't been done. But so our criteria is that field work has to be done by at least 80% before this project moves any further, not 20%. Those numbers are completely wrong, and there's no way that we can allow this project to continue and make the citizens fix these problems that the registry has created. So if you still have any doubts about any of this, I'm here. You can get in contact with me with whoever sent you this video or whatever group you got it from. You can ask somebody from my number, and I'm here. Also, we have the email account of Sol at the end of this video, which you can write an email to, and we will definitely get back to you. There's a couple of us who speak English, so we're here to help. And there will also be another video that's a bit longer and explaining in more legal detail. It's a direct translation of what one of our lawyers wrote today. And I hope this helped, and you have a great afternoon, and stay tuned.